Hey there, everyone. You're listening to the Sorcerer Weekly podcast. It's April 24th, 2017. We've been on hiatus of sorts. So glad to be back. I'm
Hey.
joined as always by Shadow and our new guest today, Tomato Forth.
Sup?
So Tomato is he's been on the Discord for a while now. He's I think huge fan of the series. He's not as vocal about it as everyone, but everybody is different. Tomato, just quickly, you don't have to go on. Like I said, don't go too specific if you don't want. Just be your favorite arc, your favorite character, and the reasons why.
Yeah. Well, I've been reading it for like 10 years about, and I like the early stuff the most, like stuff like Phantom Lord and Tenru Island. It's kind of hard to choose a favorite, but I generally prefer the arcs that focus on the sense of adventure and usually have a huge cast of characters. And yeah, I think my favorite character is probably either Gajil or I also like Loki from before he became Lucy's spirit.
Oh, so when he was a member of the Fairy Tale Guild,
Yeah,
right?
when he had
He was
more
a
swag.
playboy.
Okay, you said Gajio is one of your favorite characters. Is there a particular fight you like of his?
I like the fight that he and Natsu had with Laxus because they both were really important in that fight, but he still let Natsu have the bigger spotlight in the end.
I get you. Okay. That's true. If it wasn't for Gajio, Loxus would have just destroyed Natsu. I could agree there. Um, I know you, but I don't know you that well. Are you a shipper? Like, you have a pairing that
Not
you follow, or no?
not much.
All right, just clearing that up because I know Shadow's a huge fan of Rogura, which is Rogue and
Yeah.
Kagura.
I don't
As you
pretty
know,
much I pretty much only ship crack ships, so I have problems with all the main.
hey, that's fine. As you know, I'm a huge Nalu fan. So that's cool. So now you guys know more about Tomato. So this week we're going to talk about the movie poster that was released a while back. We're also going to talk about Mavis. She's going to be our focal point for both the character discussion and potentially the chapter predictions. Who knows? So with that being said, let's talk about the poster. We posted it on the Discord where we're going to talk about it, and then we'll post it on the YouTube. Shadow, start us off. What do you think about the poster? What do you think's going on there?
Well, I'll start off with just looking at the characters, and like Carla reminds me of the Omak OVA about going to school and she's like a teacher, because she looks like she's in a school sort of uniform. With like the outfit with like a tie and a dress and that.
Yeah.
Wendy seems like an arc back to Kate Shelter garments.
Oh, I see it. What do you think of Urza going back to her old
tiger
armor?
suit? I think, is it tiger or was it leopard or something?
It was
It was one
I
of those.
can't remember.
It was a big cat anyway. One of the big cats. I like, to be honest. I'm glad that she's not just simply using the like camo, the fire dress, fire things, because she has many armors, so I do enjoy it when she uses more variety of these armors.
I gotcha.
So her not being in her usual armor is always satisfying. Happy looks constipated, to be honest.
He does. He's even sweating from the forehead.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that till like right now when I zoomed in.
And Lucy just looks like she's in like the like a more like skimpy and reddish version of one of the older outfits, like the blue one from near the beginning of the series.
Oh, the one that the fucking landlord took from her, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Alright,
And
what about... Hold on. So you've talked about the girls. Tomato, what do you think of Gray's design and Natsu's design in this particular image?
Oh, I like the shirt that Natsu has. It's kind of different from like what he wears usually. And I notice he has the bandages that
Uh-huh.
are involved in the manga content. Uh, Gray has the whole Devil Slayer thing, not much clothing, which is usual for him.
Yeah.
The Devil Slayer tattoo seems a bit more black than I would have predicted it to be. I was predicting it would be like purple with color.
White
but,
purple.
I don't know.
Is
I
there a
just guess
particular
when
reason?
I saw, because when you see it in the manga, you don't know what color it's gonna be. So.
Alright.
And I also noticed that there's like this huge wand flying in the air, but no one's really using it, and I think that's pretty interesting that it could maybe be involved in the story of the movie somehow.
Oh, that's the magic staff. Maybe it's like the staff from Moracion 6, where it has a mind of its own.
That was dealt quite different, didn't it? That had like a skull in the head.
Well, yeah, it did, but it's fucking fairy tale. Anything
I mean, the actual staff looks sort of like reminiscent of if like the dragon that's behind it was in the form of a staff. That's the word, because it was the horns and the bit at the very top of the staff.
For me, one thing we didn't cover was Natsu has the scarf as like a satchel type thing, right? It's not the first time he's done that in the series, so that's interesting. Another thing is that the dragon looks huge, like holy shit.
Yeah.
Like those glacier things on his body.
Yeah, and it seems the dragon is like beyond the horizon if you look at his legs, so that would make him even more big.
Yeah, I was like, what the like? I hope that, like, I get there's really no sense of like danger in fairy tale realism, but I mean, if the dragon is that big, it's like if Godzilla was right next to us and we're like, we're gonna defeat you. I just hope it doesn't get that.
That'd be like miles long, so it'd dwarf everything pretty much.
Yeah, but like the palace is smaller than his hand that's behind the mountain range, which is crazy. That's holy shit.
I mean,
and the movie comes out next week, so that's gonna be fun. Hopefully we get it early from those lovely streaming sites.
I'll probably just watch it in the cinema.
Oh, I gotta wait till June because licensing with America, and I always manage to fuck things up. One thing that we did learn, it's kind of relating to the movie, is that Mashima worked on a 200-page, what is it, like, book that he's gonna hand out to, storyboard that he's gonna hand out to the audience. I think it's in Tokyo or wherever the first showing is. I thought that was pretty cool with him. I mean, 200 pages.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think I've just noticed that in the actual palace, there's like a tower near to the right of the actual big actual building with like an ice explosion in it, or whatever you'd call it. Ice shard coming.
Ooh, I see it.
So maybe that is because like the big dragon looks somewhat like I'd assume it's something relating to ice, because it looks like it has giant ice shards, so it could be either from the dragon or from Grey, because he's the ice dude of fairy tale, basically.
It's interesting though that we have Grey in this form, because the anime hasn't covered it, but the manga has. This form, him showing this form is really, really interesting, and hopefully it plays out well, because Mashima, as I've mentioned before, in my opinion, tends to forget about Grey, but in this one it seems like he's made it so he's a force to be messed with. So we've, so I mean, I'm pretty sure we've covered everything we could with the movie poster. As I've said, different different countries have different release dates for the movie. I know Japan is May 5th, same day as Guardians of the Galaxy in America. Fun fact. USA is June someday in June. When's the UK?
It is
Shadow? When
May,
did you
May
say?
the 17th.
May the 17th. And Tomato, do you know when it releases in your country?
I don't think it's gonna release here.
Oh fuck.
Anime movies usually don't.
Oh fuck. My bad. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
I'll just wait for it to come out with a DVD and then
Oh.
order that online.
If you know, it'd be amazing if the Blu-ray DVD comes with a little booklet too. I'd buy the
Yeah.
fuck out of that ASAP. So yeah, that'd be fun. Like I said, just make sure you look at anime studios that release in your country. Maybe it'll be sooner or later. I know Mexico, my people, they get it on the 17th as well, which doesn't make sense to me because Mexico gets it in May, and America has to wait until June, even though Funimation has licensing. Stupid Funimation. Anyway, let's move on to Mavis. Mavis Vermillion, founder of Fairy Tail and lover of Xerath.
And a huge disappointment.
Let's save my rant for a later time. So of course I said lover of Xerath. That's covered in Fairy Tail Zero, which is both the spin-off volume or prequel spin-off volume and the anime adaptation of it. So Tomato, start us off. Just tell us what you like about her. Maybe her favorite moment. I don't think she has that many battles, but if you have a favorite battle she has, go ahead and let us know.
I mean, I like the battle that she has in Fairy Tail Zero, where she uses like her tactics, but when it comes to her magic and tactics, she mostly just shows them off in the Fairy Tail Zero prequel, and not really almost at all in the actual series.
I mean, my favorite.
Well, go ahead, Shadow.
My favorite part, a bit of which included Mavis, was the that game she played with.
Yuri,
Yeah, that's his name.
the blinking game. Oh, that was clever.
Yeah, that was probably when she actually showed her intelligence the most, I'd say.
But for me, jumping off your point, it didn't really show much of her intelligence, but more of the stupidity of Yuri. Because it was, I mean, she was clever as shit in that. Don't get me wrong, but for me, it showed more that Yuri was an idiot. Which as the arc progresses, we kind of realize he kind of is an idiot, but he's a powerhouse, right? So he's like badass, but also dumb. So that's what I got from that fight, and it was clever of her because like, what was it? The blinking, like, how many times have I blinked? 42 or something. And if he answers dishonestly, he loses, and if he answers incorrectly, he loses. That was clever. I don't see how that makes her, like, my whole thing with her, and I'm gonna go on in the manga section because we already know how I feel about that shit. But I'll start off with the good. One of the things I do love about her is in Fairy Tail Zero, we see that friendship and that bond she has with Zera, right? And how even though Zera and her father were very bad to her, she still sees Zera as a friend, and is so heartbroken when she finds out Zera is actually dead and just a figment of her imagination. But what about you guys? What's your favorite interaction from Mavis with a character?
I would say I sort of like the interaction she has with Kana, because that's arcing back to the era.
What interaction? The post anime?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Don't go too
Yeah, sorry,
don't go too specific. No, that's fine. No, no worries. Just don't go too specific into it, but just talk about like why in particular, what you kind of were already.
I mean, I can't remember how. I'm not really sure how to say it vaguely, but they seem to get on. They seem to be just naturally work well with each other, the personalities and that. And there's like
Yeah.
various scenes which in the manga even confirm that to the reader quite easily.
Well, we also see that in the Grand Magic games, right? Where she trusts Kana enough to give her temporary power over fairy glitter.
Yeah, that was like the
Remember
second time
the
that happened, didn't it? Because she did it in Tenno Island as well.
Oh, in Tenro, she gained the power by putting her hand through the supposed tomb. Even though we've never been confirmed if it is a tomb or not, since there's like two or three apparently. So when she puts her hand there, and then in Grand Magic Games, like we said, where and then when I love the fact that when what is it, Makarov asked Mavis about why did he lend her the power? Oh, because I want Fairy Tail to win.
Yeah, it's like
So we know.
she didn't
Yeah.
care. They're just gonna win. It's like we don't care about the rules. We'll just win it. It's like even Makarov wasn't bothered about winning. He just wanted the money. Like they all have reasons that aren't entirely about honor and just winning it for the pride. They just want to win it for different reasons.
Tomato, what about you? What's your favorite Mavis interaction or friendship?
Well, like her interaction with Prex, who later becomes Master Hades. They kind of just expanded on that in the anime filler, where they added the episode with more stuff about Brecht and showed his relationship with Mavis. And it's kind of cool in the prequel because it gives more background to how Hades ended up eventually becoming what he did.
So what do you say you like? Okay, I don't want to deviate this from a Mavis and Dog conversation to a Prect conversation. But do you think, because we know Prect, we see the change he has, right? We see him turn evil in Tenro Island. Well, we see that he's evil in Tenro Island. Do you think Mavis's death had, of course, without getting too specific into manga details and everything, do you think her death affected him? How how did, okay, it's kind of hard to, how do you think her death affected him emotionally?
Well, I would say her death is probably the main reason why Prex like became obsessed with the dark magic and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty actually important to his development.
Because in Tartaros, like you're mentioning, we see that he still cares for Fairy Tail in a way when he's telling the what is it, Lucia not to tell Makarov to unleash the darkness or whatever wording was. So you could still see that he had an impact on Mavis still had an impact on him, and so did Fairy Tail. Anything that you in particular don't like about Mavis? Tomato?
Me? Well, I don't really like her role in like the main series because she seems like more of the kind of person who's already done everything she can, and she should be more of a mentor to the characters who are in the present day and like let them do more stuff and be more important to the plot, since they're the new generation and her time kind of already passed hundreds of years ago.
Do you think that her lack of involvement was planned by Mashima, or Mashima just didn't know what to do with her?
I mean, I like how vague her involvement is when she's introduced in general, and I would have preferred if it kept being that way, but then I guess Mashima maybe recognized the fact that a lot of fans liked her, so he started putting her more and more into the front. Even though
Not
I feel
fair.
like there are more characters that could have maybe filled that spot better.
I get you. What about you, Shadow? Any commentary on what Tomato said, or any particular thing you dislike about Mavis?
I mean, I don't like her overall character design. Like, it seems underused and somewhat used badly, in the sense that she seems like she's this great tactician and that, but she's a lot of the times when Fairy Tail are in massive danger, she does fuck all. Like, you'd think at Tartarus she'd have gone, oh yeah, you should probably do this, this, and this. But no, she doesn't.
Was she even relevant in Tartarus?
I don't think she even came about in Tartarus, but she could have shown up. That's the thing. Like, she's this person that seems to love this guild, but never help them out most of the time. When they're in massive danger.
Okay, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird now. So we see her in the Grand Magic Games. We learn more about her in the Sun Village arc and her relationship with the Wizard Saints, or one of the Wizard Saints, right? And then in Tartarus, she doesn't show up.
Yeah, I mean, even her, like, Zereth showed up. So you think, oh, Zereth's there, maybe I can go and talk to him. No, doesn't even show.
That's interesting. I didn't remember. I didn't realize that she didn't play a role at all in Tartarus. Well, I kind of did, but I kind of thought I was like just missing something, because I was like, clearly Mavis played a part because. But I guess I was wrong.
Well, Makarov was planning to use her body as the fairy heart in Tartarus, but then he didn't.
Yeah, but don't forget she still has the projection, right? So her projection could have still been walking around. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like Mavis has got to get her shit together. One of the things I've disliked about Mavis for a while, and it wasn't that. Oh, it's more of a manga spoiler, so I'll leave it for that. But one of the things I don't really like was about how she's known as this great tactician. But like most of it, and especially in the Grand Magic Games, most of it was just number crunching and just guessing that the people will be there. I don't think that requires any strategy or wit or any tactical anything that requires any sort of tactic. I mean, with Kagura and Minerva and Urza go here, she'll probably be there. Oh, Gray's gonna lose to Rufus, I predict, because these numbers tell me this. So, I never liked that about her. She had great interactions. I think Zero was like where Mashima invested all his time for Mavis, and then after that he just was like, oh, forget it. I got nothing for her anymore. One funny comment was Walk, who's helping to oversee the running of this podcast so we don't deviate from the conversation so much, said, I don't like that they kept her a lolly. And then he's talking about how he wishes Edolas Mavis was shown. So shout out to Walk for asking apparently the real questions. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about with Mavis, or do you guys want to just jump straight into the chapter discussion?
I'm fine going to the chapter discussion.
Tomato?
Yep.
Oof,
Same.
okay, let's go. So if you don't read the manga, spoilers are inbound, and maybe a rant or two by a certain host. So we're gonna start with 532. Oh, it was a double chapter this week because Mashima, he realized that Golden Week was next week, and he was like, can't let the fans just have one chapter. So he gave us 2 chapters. And alright, Shadow, start us off with 532.
Right. So, like, 532 starts off with, like, ship confirmations and basic confirmation that, yes, they did bang, and yes, it was consensual. And then it was just random. Because like, that's literally the first page, isn't it? Pretty much.
No, I know. See, I see.
And then like there's just like
I know.
I'd like how when the first thing, like, the thing that I found like most striking at the first 2 pages was mainly the fact that Loxus and Mira Jane were included.
Well, don't forget that Gildarts and Kana were also included. So this, Mashima's into incest. I don't think it means much. But okay. Before we continue with 532, I want to talk about that whole image. What was your initial reaction, Tomato, when you saw the naked Zervis? Like did he find that weird, out of place, or like?
I didn't pay that much attention to it. I think it wasn't that big of a deal. It seemed to fit to the narrative.
What do you mean it fit the narrative? Like explain that.
Well, we already know that Seraph and Mavis were romantically involved, and in this time in the story it seems like a good time to include that.
See, but does it really make sense though? Because the chapter before you have Natsu and Zara fighting, and then you have Acnologia trying to destroy the Christine, the Blue Pegasus ship. So I know you say it fit the narrative, but doesn't it just seem like out of place given what we've seen chapters prior?
Well, maybe compared to the chapters prior, but it's like leads to the events that happen in the chapter.
Oh no, I agree that it kind of it doesn't really. Because she just drops. Oh, that show's hilarious. It does affect what happens in the later chapter and later in the chapter, but before that, it just seemed like it was random because they're like naked and they're embracing in the lake where they first met. I'm assuming. And then it says, "This world is ours." It just seemed random to me. I mean, I don't know what you guys' thoughts is, but I just think Mashima just made that just so people could stop saying that he Zareth. How do I word this without sounding inappropriate? Zareth did the thing while she was dead. I think this was just Mashima saying, "No, homies, she was alive. She was very much alive when they did the thing." But
see, I think he may have included it to show because like basically all those things, like the words at the big of those first 3 pages, all seem like Mavis is explaining that she truly does love Zareth, and that explains somewhat to her idiocy later on, because that's clouding her not so great mind.
You're a fucking idiot.
And
sorry, I just had to. I'm sorry. All right, Shadow. I interrupted, but go ahead. Continue with your thoughts on chapter 532.
And so yeah, I think that explains why she was a bit idiotic later on in the chapters, i.e., walking straight to Zareth and getting captured, which was basically the worst thing a tactician could think of, because she is the objective for him, and sort of making the objective right next to the most powerful enemy is never really a good idea. Also, I think it's like the fact that she did truly love him, and the chapter basically does reveal that Zareth basically couldn't give a shit anymore. Also sort of explains why during the sort of kiss that sort of killed her, explains why she died and he didn't, because she was the one which loved him more.
Oh shit! See, I didn't think of it that way. No, because hold on, because if he loved her more, if she loved him more, she would have killed him, but he killed her. So I think that was a good observation, though. What I think happened was, in the beginning when they first met all those years ago, he was so deeply in love and invested in her, right? but afterward, as time progressed and we saw how like angry and cranky he would get, his love started going away for her, while her love for him started growing. How it grew, no idea, but it started growing. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that. Tomato, what about you? What did you think about 532?
I was mainly kind of confused about what was happening. Like, why did Sheriff get fairy hearts? Seems like
Oh my god, I fucking hate
all
it.
of Mavis's effort in this chapter kind of went for nothing, but I mean, it seems like a very cool way to lead to the main conflict, since right now the main characters are in the most dangerous situation they've ever been. And another thing I picked up was Acnologia's dialogue of like the fact that he really wants to capture Wendy and remove her from existence because dragons are not necessary for this world anymore, which is interesting because it's the first time we see a glimpse of maybe what is Acnologia's plan. Like maybe he has some kind of plan for the kind of world that he wants to exist.
Yeah, he kind of teased it with the when he killed what's his name, that one hit wonder.
Godzilla.
There we go. Yeah, Godzilla when he said 7 left, and then when Gajil faked that, he kind of teased it again. But in this one, you're right. He does talk about how, you know what, dragons aren't needed, which was interesting because, like you said, this is the first time we see a glimpse of his motivation. What did you guys think? And I'll give my thoughts on 532 afterward. But what did you guys think of Zerev's new design?
I mean, I thought it's a bit unusual because, like, I don't really understand the. I mean, I don't really understand. It looks cool, but I don't really understand, like, why the infinite magical power suddenly giving him wings.
Because he's got so much magic that it's like seething out of him.
I mean,
something.
you'd think because he's made a demon which had tentacle magic, he'd have tentacles, but no.
Well, he created that demon.
Yeah.
This magic he fused with him. What about you, Tomato? What did you think of Zeref's new design?
I think it looks cool. It has a lot of like little parts that I feel like the design will be a lot more defined when it's animated, or if it's in the manga cover or somewhere where it has colors, because I kind of wanna know if all of these parts are just white or yellow, or are they gonna have different colors, because I would prefer much if these little illustrations in his costume would be different color than the actual cloth.
What colors would you make them? Because you've mentioned gold,
I would make
gold, but what else?
I would make the cloth like yellow and white, and then the illustrations maybe red or like a darker yellow.
So you'd give them like that royal looking,
Yeah.
deity looking feel to them?
Yeah. And maybe like white hair, since that seems to be the case.
That's true, because the chapter afterward was Zeref the White Mage, so that's interesting. So okay, I'm just gonna give my opinion on the chapter now. I think Mavis was just the stupidest thing you could do. It's the stupidest thing you could do, and then people are gonna say, "Well, you're only saying that because of the repercussions and what happens next chapter." But no, I mean, what has Fairy Tail been trying to do since the start of the arc? Not let Zeref get his hands on Fairy Heart. So what does Mavis do after she says whether she believed it or not, she still stated it in the manga that Natsu will beat Zareth, and she will find a way to defeat him or like seal him or whatever the fuck. But what she does is, hold on, Natsu. I know you're gonna try to land a hit right now, but stop, because I'm gonna try to go Naruto and try to convince Zareth not to do this shit, even though I probably can't. And what pissed me off the most is like, please give me a chance. Well, this is her, of course. Please give me a chance. Give me an opportunity to talk to Zareth. Why the fuck you gotta talk to Zareth? He wants you dead. Like, dead. Like, you've been dropped by him already, and you're gonna be dropped again by him in the next chapter. Why you wanna talk to him? Like, why you want, like, see, and this is what annoyed me the most, because she's seen as this great tactician, right? The fairy tactician, the one who led the charge in the Second Great War, or whatever the fuck they called it, the Trade War.
Yeah.
But I mean, no. Why is she going to Zareth and saying, Zareth, let me try to talk to you? And Zareth wasn't having none of that shit. He literally said, I will take your fairy heart, and then he just discards the shit out of her. Like, I don't get it. Like, what the fuck was she thinking? Like, and like, this is how badly annoyed me. The whole rant I did on the subreddit, it just proved to me that Mavis, and not the rant itself, but this whole chapter just proved to me that Mavis just has that title of fairy tactician because she was in a world of stupid. She was the least stupid, and what I mean by that is, like, in the year, what, 692 or whatever. Yeah, there was not really a lot of wizards, and those who were wizards, there was like few of them. So if you were like the least stupid, you'd be seen as a great hero. And I know there's a lot of Zareth, Mavis, and Zervis fans who listen to this, and I appreciate you guys listening. But Mavis was a fucking idiot. And if it was not to doing this shit, I'd be calling him a fucking idiot too. Because, I mean, how you gonna give the biggest weapon to Zareth? But, that's enough of a rant. Tomato, start off with chapter 533 and your thoughts on it.
What? Oh, right, sorry, I thought you said tomato. I'm sorry. Chapter 533, I thought it's like, I mean, I was quite, the thing that impressed me was like, the size of Natsu's, like, just normal, like, fire punch, whatever. Because it basically destroyed.
That was a big attack.
It just destroyed pretty much the entire town, and then the fact that Dereth basically had like one-upped his son in how he just regrown back himself from like magic. Because like August did something similar when he was against Gildarts, but Dereth's one looked far more impressive than his did. We should sort of expect that Dereth knows a lot of the same magic August does, because to a degree he probably taught him it.
What did you think of his line, right? Because okay, he puts his whole hand through Natsu. Like, have you seen the Flash? You saw the Reverse Flash do that in season 1, where it just like destroys Cisco, over the Reverse Flash destroys Cisco by just putting his hand through his heart. Zareth did something similar. Shadow, what did you think of Natsu's death? And what did you think of his Zareth's line afterward, where he mentions Makarov?
I mean, I feel like I don't understand it, because like Urza was crying with Natsu earlier, so shouldn't he have already sort of known about Makarov's death? Because Urza was crying in that, and that's how she kind of stopped that ridiculous fight of Grey versus End. And like, well, I think like the simple thing is that he just simply pretty much just walked through him like he was nothing is the most important, like the biggest thing. Is it pretty much just walked straight through? Probably the big.
I know you love that line. I know you loved it because you made a fucking meme out of it.
I know. I like the panel more than the actual line. Like the goodbye Natsu thing, like the actual lines I thought were alright, but I just realised like the panel, and then I renamed it, and then I was in a Kendrick Lamar mood, so I changed it to Bitch Be Humble instead of goodbye Natsu.
Straight triggered the fuck out of me, not gonna lie. Tomato, what did you think of the chapter? What did you think of Natsu's death? Zaref's line? Mavis's uselessness? You know?
I like the very beginning of the chapter where you see other characters with guild arts, Kana, and those people. It gives you a bit more like exposition to what's happening out there, and I like how everyone has that one person who they are worried about, and for Panther really that one person is happy and not like someone else. And then we see a little bit of Grey and Lucy who don't really do anything, and then I think Natsu's death, quotation marks, is like the main moment of the chapter, and you know it's cool. Sheriff has a badass line about Makarov's death, and I mean we all know that Natsu's not gonna stay dead, so I don't.
Do we though?
Take that
Do we
so
though?
seriously.
Because Mashima has stated he doesn't like doing these fake deaths because he doesn't want to lose the audience trust. So I don't know how possible it is for him to come back. I just, how many fake deaths have been in this arc?
I think it's gonna be.
We have
possibly
Mira Jane, Juvia, Grey, Gagio. There was another one.
The carrot girl.
Well,
Oh no, she dead.
She dead.
She's
actually dead.
She was confirmed. Poor Beth. Her name was Beth. Okay.
I mean,
Poor
she was
Beth.
she was like the least interesting character from the main field, to be fair. So
I mean,
it isn't a major loss.
She was Kagura's favorite friend, alright? Okay. So I just the fucked up thing is they kill her and they kill Makarov, but they don't kill like other characters who probably be more relevant. Well, not that Makarov wasn't relevant. I mean, he took out like 80% of the soldiers, the foot soldiers, but still, like, not gonna lie to you guys though. When I read this chapter, I was pissed. I was like, my boy Natsu died, and then I raged at the stupid lolly known as Mavis.
And then everyone said, "Oh, you're only angry at Mavis because Natsu died." Because obviously, fanboyism would completely mix the two up.
Like, and then I was accused of not like. I love the chapters. The chapters were great. I just thought Mavis was so stupid in these chapters. It makes sense because, you know, Mashimo is always, especially in this arc, he's constantly pushing a Zervis romance, or the lack of romance, because the way Zara treated her, I don't know how that's romance. He's constantly pushing it. Every time Mavis says something, it's gotta involve or be about Zareth, right? She's constantly pushing that, and he's like, okay, you guys are gonna like Zervis one way or another. But it just pissed me off because I was like, dude, not a lot of people are invested in Zervis. I know some are, so don't fucking kill me for saying that. But just a lot of them aren't. And you keep pushing it like if we're supposed to care about it. Quite frankly, when she fucking fell on the ground the second time, the first time was in 451, right? When he just, Zara's like, I've come to return Mavis, and he just drops her. And then in this chapter, when he does the same thing, I kind of laughed because I was like, one, Mavis, you deserve it for being an idiot, and two, why are you expecting a different result when we've seen Zareth talk about how he only cares about Fairy Heart? So it was just. And then we have that whole scene with Natsu crying and shit, and then Zareth saying that was it a badass line? Absolute. Still a jackass move. Fucking jackass move. Hope you join Makarov in heaven. Well, fuck you too, Zareth. It's gonna be a dope fight though, him and Acnologia, if they do fight, because we're gonna see. I feel like Agnologia wouldn't hold back at all, and Mashima wouldn't have him hold back. So that'd be great. But you know, chapters were great, like I said. Even though I've been told that I think otherwise, I did love the chapters. Just hated Mavis in them, but I've always hated Mavis. I've never been particularly fond of Mavis. So there's that. Tomato, you did bring up the whole Lucy and Gray aspect of it. What do you think is gonna come of that? What do you think is gonna come of that?
I think they're probably gonna go and help Natsu. Honestly.
But how would they help him though? Because we kind of see that he's kind of dead, because his eyes are like the pupil in his eyes are no longer there. So how would they help him?
Oh yeah, but they might use the end book or discover some way. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time this arc when they just conveniently introduce a way to do something when it is needed, even though it hasn't been stated before.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad. What about you, Shadow? What do you think is going to happen regarding Gray and Lucy?
I think Lucy's going to fuck up with messing with the book, and Anna at some point is going to basically just shout at her and have to fix it, because there must be a bit, because Anna's plan with Agnology is going to fail, I think, and I think Anna probably going to be there for more than that purpose. I think it's probably going to be shouting at Lucy for messing with the end book, and because I think the end book is probably more and I don't think I think Natsu will be just brought back by simply Zareth at some point, because he's like, oh shit, I just spent all this time trying to kill him, resurrecting him, I'm here because I resurrected him. I'll just put him back at some point, because the curse of contradiction is still in him. So
well, the curse of contradiction only takes effect when he starts caring, and I don't think he started caring about anyone.
yeah,
because he's talked about how he wants to just end the war.
So like
let's talk about and let's talk about that contradiction too, when he's telling Mavis that he wants to fight with Natsu against Aknologia. The fucking next chapter, he just straight up fucking one hit KOs Natsu. What the fuck? Bid.
Like this, I think even though he's like so solidly at the everything shall die, that curse still affects him to a degree, making him irrational decisions which somewhat make it harder for him to actually do the things he wants, such as one hit KOing him when he wanted him to beat Acnologia.
That'd be interesting. I just maybe I'm overthinking it. I just don't think Natsu's gonna come back soon. I think he's gonna stay dead and undisclosed. I don't know how long, but I think he's gonna stay dead longer than a chapter or two.
Yeah, I think so too.
I just think it's gonna be interesting because he's basically been sidelined this whole arc. First, it was with the ether nano tumor, and then it was just when we focused on all the other characters, not really him. It's kind of annoying me because I mean, he's the main character. Yeah, he's getting the great treatment, And what I mean by that is that it seems Mashima just doesn't know what to write for him. And it's like, just fucking, or just have him do something. Have him look for a spell or something, make him relevant instead of doing that. But I'll wait. Okay, so let's do this. In how many chapters do you think Natsu will come back, Shadow?
5.
What about you, Tomato?
3.
3?
Yeah.
You say 3. You say Shadow says 5. You say 3. I'll say 7.
Wax says 2 to 3. So, sort of.
See, I should have said 4. Been in the middleman.
Not really. I'm now sort of the middleman as well. I mean, with you, 7. So like, we're all expecting him to come back, and somewhat relatively soon now.
I expect it. Like, well, okay. Explain your reasoning behind the 3, Tomato. Like, why 3 chapters?
Well, because so far all of this arc has been pretty like fast-paced. Things happen very quickly after another. A lot of the chapters include like 3 different points of view. So even though it's possible that they might use him being dead momentarily as a way to show off more of the other characters, I don't think they would do this over like many chapters, because they have the tendency to like show at least 3 different stories every chapter, and eventually that's gonna involve Natsu. They can't really do the whole Blue Pegasus versus Acnologia thing for like very long.
Alright. Shadow, what do you think 5?
And the reason I think 5 is because I think, like, whatever's going to resurrect Natsu is going to take a couple of chapters to actually prepare, or whatever it is. I think the whole end books thing will also take up some section of chapters. The Ethnologia chase with Blue Pegasus will take up part, and probably the majority of the next 2 or 3 chapters, as well as sections about the actual rest of the Dragon Slayers, the rest of the major characters, noticing that they're up basically running away from a dragon. So they're like, shit, we probably should start thinking about helping them, or at least trying to help them, or while finishing off the enemy. So I think they'll get some panel time. I think that'll just bunch up his resurrection to near the start of the 5th chapter onwards.
Something I realized as soon as you said that is the Fairy Tail Guild members are going to the Fairy Tail Guild. And who's at the Fairy Tail Guild right now? Zareth. Zareth is there, so they're probably gonna rip too.
I wonder what happened to the...
Well, he'll probably leave. Like, it looks like in the end of the last chapter that he's leaving the Fairy Tail Guild.
Do you think Warrid will be
maybe
in the next couple chapters? Because he just sort of disappeared.
Who?
Warrid. You know, the third most powerful
the Wizard Saint.
The Wizard Saint, who's a Fairy Tail member, who should know where it is, and should be taking...
So that's the reason I think 7 though, because I think with Natsu, especially in this arc, Mashima has delayed. How long did it take him to get through the ether nano tumor? Like 6 or 7, like 5 or 7 chapters, I think, right? And then he didn't come back till like Lucy's fight with Jacob. So I think Mashima was gonna continue that trend of holding Natsu back. Which I don't know how they'll bring him back when they bring him back. I just hope it's to some extent believable and not over the top ridiculous. But I kind of think you're gonna have the Wizard Saints play a role. You're gonna see them come back, because the last time we saw them was them getting not off screen, but like Serena defeated them off screen and on screen. So I think they're gonna play a role. Don't forget, Jalal said he's gonna play the bait to help Wendy and them escape. So that's gonna take a huge part. And I also see Zareth and Actinologia kind of facing down, like not facing down, but like facing each other, facing off. And we know how Mashima sometimes likes to extend those battles, especially with some characters he likes, and the way he's been drawing and having the chapters be about Zareth and Actinologia is kind of telling for me that he enjoys writing about them.
Do you think, like, because this just popped in my head, you know the story Irene said about the White Angel and is it White Angel and Black Angel fighting over this person? Because like Darius looks inferior, a lot of his colourings looks a lot more paler than it did, and Actinologia is pretty much black. Do you think them being pretty much the colours that they were spoken about in that story that Irene said, do you think that there'll be some foreshadowing of something about that? Or do you think that's just a complete random story?
I think that'd be that's in Mashima's wheelhouse to foreshadow like that. He doesn't necessarily beat us over the head with it, but he does foreshadow, like when he foreshadowed that Mavis had a kid, and everybody naturally assumed that it was all arcade. I think he's done a good job where he foreshadows enough, and people become interested enough to try to figure it out. What about you, Tomato? What do you think of Shadow's question?
Like what? Exactly.
Do you think that it's foreshadowing the story Irene was talking about with the White Angel and the Black Angel fighting over something?
Yeah, and I also think it might tie into the picture that we saw in GMG, the Grand Magic Games, with a guy
the mosaic
fighting against the dragon.
Oh shit! What if it was there and not Natsu?
I mean,
that'd be the ultimate.
If, like, Dareth just takes his scarf, because that could probably quite clearly change what the mosaic people think the mosaic's about.
Oh, it'd be totally like Zareth too, just taking out his scarf and being like, "You're not gonna need this anymore, so I'll take it." Low key, that'd be kind of depressing. Like, my boy, he dead. And then I'm gonna write another rant saying what I hate a certain character. Alright, we've talked about 532, we've talked about 533. Shadow, in your opinion, what will happen in 534? 534 is the next chapter, right?
Yeah. So I think it'll probably be starting out with the aftermath of that Natsu's KO. But I don't think it'll probably switch off to I think there'll be a segment of basically Jerza becoming canon, with Urza slapping him, saying, "You're not going outside. He'll kill you straight away," and basically kissing him to stop him.
I don't. Look, I'm gonna say this now. Somo is listening in right now, and I'm pretty sure that made him very happy.
I mean, he's just left.
He just after you said that because
he's like, I'm finished. I don't need to listen to anything else.
Exactly.
And then I think probably after that point, it'll just be on Gray and Lucy messing around with the book.
Alright. What do you think the Promised Gates means? Shadow.
The Promised Gate. I would assume that is about Anna, to be honest, because Soma was... I'm not Soma, I'm getting confused with names. Anna was talking about her being able to open gates. And it's a shame if anybody can open gates. It's a celestial mage.
I'm just looking over that final page of 533. You just see Natsu's head hit the floor and his pupils are gone. Blood's coming out of his mouth. He just falls to the ground. Dead. What about you, Tomato? What do you think the Promised Gates means, and what do you think is gonna happen next chapter?
Well, I think like it's gonna start with Tariff leaving then. guild, because in the very last panel it seems like he's walking away from Natsu, and then it's gonna be like Lucy and Gray maybe coming to the guild and reacting to the situation. Maybe there's not enough time to have much beyond that for like Lucy and Gray, so the rest of the chapter will probably focus on Jalal maybe trying to act as a bait to Agnologia. The Promised Gates sounds like something to do with Anna. Maybe, I mean, it seems to me that it could be like Anna maybe meeting up with Lucy and maybe having a conversation about some kind of backstory events that includes that phrase. But then again, I don't know how likely it would be that in the very next chapter Anna and Lucy would meet up, since they're in so different locations. So maybe the Promised Gates will have something to do with Agnologia. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Imagine it's just Agnologia's backstory and why he's so fixated on destroying all the dragons. That'd be great.
That would be pretty cool.
For me, what I think is gonna happen is, I think we're still gonna see Mashima's gonna be the type of guy to give you another panel where you just see what happens to where you see the guild hall, you see Mavis on the ground, you see Natsu dead, and you see the giant hole Natsu left on the guild. And then you'd probably have Mavis talking about... Mavis is still alive, right? I didn't misread that?
No, I think she's
she
still
just
alive,
couldn't move. Yeah, she just couldn't move.
Out, pretty much. Although, she might have like magic deficiency order because Fairy Heart was removed.
That's fine. But I think we're gonna have her just flashback, because Mashima's done this already, where he flashes back to Zervis in the past. So I think we're gonna have it where you see how she used to think he was such a great guy, and how he helped her or something. And then we're gonna go to Agnologia and the ship. And I don't think they're gonna kiss like Shadow does, but I do think that Jerza, as it's known, will basically be confirmed. And I think Wendy will be the one who will convince Jalal not to try to sacrifice his life, because she's gonna mention how Agnologia is after the dragons and not him. So maybe she sacrifices herself, uses Dragon Force, and tries to fly away, since she does have wings in Dragon Force. So I think that's gonna happen. How likely it is, we have to wait, what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks? How many weeks is it?
I thought it was Golden Week 1 week, because it's not Golden Week.
Golden Week's next week. Right.
I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. So.
Let's see. Yeah, we don't get one till I think the 7th. I think. But those are my thoughts. Alright, let's just start wrapping things up. Tomato, anything you wanna recommend people watch, maybe play, maybe research? Anything you got?
I recommend watching the anime Monster. It's very underrated and probably one of my favorite.
What is it about? Quick synopsis.
It's about a Japanese neurosurgeon who moves to German and accidentally saves a kid who later becomes a serial murderer and tries to catch him.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. Insert Anchorman gif.
You know what? I'm kind of interested though. Not gonna lie. Because you said it. He saves a kid who later becomes a serial killer. That's pretty intense. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Is it on Crunchyroll? Is it on the streaming sites?
Not sure.
Not sure. All right,
since
so
I live in a country that doesn't use any of the legal stream sites.
that's fine. That's fine. So it's in one of the streaming sites. I'm sure everybody knows them. So just look up Monster. Let us know. Let Tomato know what you thought of it. What about you, Shadow? Anything you want to plug or talk about, or?
I'd say I'll recommend 2 anime from this season. Just let me get up from out access.
Is the one you're moderating?
Yeah,
is that one of them?
That is one of them. It's a good show.
Grills for days. Grills for days.
It is Buso Shoujo Machiavellianism and
it's intense.
Kwanzi Gao Shao, which is a massive fuck up of the actual name. And yes, I did swear, but I don't give a fuck. Because like that, that's like anybody who probably has any understanding of Chinese will know I've definitely mucked that up. But it's about.
That was Japanese, not Chinese.
I think the Kwanzi Gao Shao is Chinese because
it
sounds more like Chinese. The actual.
I know what I thought you were talking about. Like that's fine. Let's continue.
The Kwanzi Gao Shao. I'll just call it Glory because it's about an MMO called Glory, where a top of the line player, like one of the best from the early days, gets kicked out of pro team, and he loses his account. So he has to start from scratch on a new server, and he basically works at this LAN cafe place and just shows off his skills, breaking records and stuff, and it's entertaining. It's got very good scenes. It's very well animated. All that.
So what do you like the Buso
Shoujo Machiavellianism?
What do you like that one?
I actually like it because like I find it somewhat entertaining because it's like it's somewhat comical in that.
It is. I'll give you that. It is and comical. Then, like, it's very hilarious.
The actual main character is just like OP to the point where he makes his fight scenes interesting while also comical in the sense that he's like, yeah, just shove off, like you're not worth a fight, just go away because you're not really threatening at me yet. He's like that sort of he's strong, but he's not like so strong it's like one hit. It's just you're not really challenging me, but I'm just gonna make it look it sort of looks like a challenge until some point.
And then there's a lot of fan service.
Yeah.
So whoever watches it, just know that there is some fan service in those. Well, in the first one, I haven't seen the second one.
I've seen the first 3 episodes. Like, oh no, you mean talking about the first?
No,
one.
I'm talking about the visual or whatever. The 3rd episode. If you like fan service, you're gonna love that episode.
Yeah.
Just gonna let you know right now. See, because when you recommended it, I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. I saw the first episode. I was like, okay, this guy's pretty sick. I get where they're going. And then the second episode, I got it even more. I thought it was interesting. The 3rd episode, I was like, holy shit, this actually happened. So that was interesting. 2 series, well, 3 series I would recommend because I moderate them and because they're really good. 4 of them, even though I don't moderate one. My Hero Academia, I think this tournament arc that it's in the anime is showing the versatility and the awesomeness that is not only Deku, which is the main character, but the entire cast. The studio is Bones, if I'm not mistaken. Bones?
Yeah, it's Bones.
Yeah, it's Bones.
So yeah, you already know they do top tier stuff. They're using the same soundtrack as the previous season. Similar to what Fairy Tail used to do in series 1, you know, where they reuse some of the music, which is great because it's fantastic music. Another one would be Roku Dennashi, or the magical, the something bastard of the Akashic records. A character is similar to the guy in the Irregular at Magic High, where he's overpowered, but not because he's like super powerful, but more because he's super talented and he knows how to manipulate his elements. There is some gore in it, and it's pretty intense. And it's gonna get more intense as the series goes on, so that's gonna be fun. Another one would be Grimoire of Zero, which is Zero no Kahara, some long Japanese name because it's got to be a long name. It's by White Fox. Well, the studio's White Fox. They've done ReZero. The girl, she's a wizard. She's a witch. The other main character is a badass. He's a mercenary. So there's that, as well as Recreators. It's a good show. It's what happens if anime characters come to life and so on and so on. So that one's fun. I don't want to give too much away because there's not much we know. They've introduced a few characters. They haven't introduced a whole cast. Those are the 4 I'd recommend. Tomato recommended Monster. Shadow recommended, I'm not going to try to pronounce them. I'll just say Buzwol. And the other one, Kwanzi Gao Shu, whatever. Yeah.
Might be sure.
A for effort. That's it. Thank you for listening. I hope you had fun. We'll try to be back more frequently now that we have a Jay who's on the Discord helping us out, as well as Doc who's dealing with stuff. Nothing bad. He's just got personal stuff he's got to take care of and so forth. You know how it goes. Soma missed the beautiful Jerza moment that Shadow brought up. Potentially. I'm saying that because Soma's here listening now. So thanks for listening. Adios.